Hey, what is going on, Miami Dolphins fans? Welcome back to the Fins Up Network. It's Ben Morgan, and I've got to ask you, is this week just dragging on for you as much as it is for me? I tell you what, coming off of not only a loss, but three straight losses, you always just want to get right back on the field. You want to sleep well at night. You want to get the team on the field. You want to get a win. But now, not only do we get Sunday night primetime game, we get the 50th year anniversary of the perfect season 72 Miami Dolphins. We get the revenge game against former coach Brian Flores. But most importantly, we get QB1 back. Tua Tagovailoa expected to be back Sunday night against the Steelers. And man, it's only Wednesday. The week is just crawling. But let's kick off Steelers week with some stock up, stock down candidates. But I want to hear from you as well. So drop your candidates in the comments below and let's keep the conversation going there. But let's start up with a stock up that I did not anticipate breaking out at any point in time in the 2022 NFL season, and that is Noah Igbenogany and the depleted Miami Dolphins secondary, because Noah comes in and the first thing you see is a pass interference call when he was all over Adam Thielen. And if you were thinking like I was, it's like, damn it, same old Noah. Like he can't get his head around. He's always trailing on the wrong end of a big play. But man, he looked good after that. The pass breakups, I don't think, to my knowledge, he didn't give up a completion the entire game on his watch. He got the PBUs. He was always in the right spot. He damn near had the interception on that other play as well. We got to give him a little bit of credit when it's due. Not saying he played flawlessly by any means, but man, for how much I've dogged him, for how much us as fans have dogged him, when he does something good, you got to give him the stock up. And the depleted secondary in general. I mean, look at Xavier Howard coming into that game with both groins. Byron Jones remaining on PUP. Nick Needham, we lose him for the season. Kader Kohu's not even available for that game to begin with. Keon Crossan leaves that game with an injury. But we held Kirk Cousins to 175 passing yards, Thielen to 36 receiving yards. And if you take away that big play down the sideline to Justin Jefferson, which, yes, is cheating, the play happened. You can't really play by those rules. But if you do, if we bend the rules a little bit, held him to 60 receiving yards. So, like I said, you got to give credit where it's due. The secondary came up big last week. Stock up to that depleted secondary, to Josh Boyer, and to Noah Igbenogany. Well, let's hit a stock down here real quick. Cedrick Wilson. Now, I've considered putting him as a stock down the last 2-3 weeks, but I wanted to give him a little bit of a break because over that period of time, I mean, you know it, we've been playing musical chairs at quarterback, so it's kind of hard to simply like blame a wide receiver. But if you look at, just look at the sheer numbers that Tyreek and Waddle put up, and you're just like, you know what? If we're going to hold these guys to that standard, and if they're going to produce, you got to keep Cedrick Wilson to that same standard. So I got to finally break out the stock down. Look, he's got 7 targets on the entire season. And with those 7 targets, he's produced 4 catches for 40 yards and no touchdowns. We signed him to a 3-year, $22.8 million deal this offseason. And now last week against the Vikings, he logged less offensive snaps than both Trent Sherfield and River Craycraft. And I know right now, there's a hot topic. Trade deadline's approaching. I think it's like 13 days from today. If there's a team that's depleted at wide receiver, I know the Packers come to mind right away. I know that the Carolina Panthers just dealt Robbie Anderson, and I know that they got a new coach. They're going to be basically playing for the future. They're going to be trying to move some pieces as well. So if there's a team that could use a wide receiver, I'm not personally saying no if Cedrick Wilson's in a deal. You talk about the 2 guys that I said are already getting more snaps than him. We got Eric Ezukama, who we spent a 4th rounder on this last year's draft. So he's going to be part of the long-term plans. Maybe he could take a step up already this season. We probably wouldn't be losing much by parting ways right now with Cedrick Wilson. So keep that in the back of your mind as well. Let's boost things back up with a stock up, though, and that's Christian Wilkins and the Dolphins' run defense in general, because the run defense held Vikings running backs to 78 rushing yards last week, and that includes the 53-yard touchdown run by Dalvin Cook. Now, let's play the hypothetical game again. If you take away Dalvin Cook's 53-yard touchdown run, they had 15 carries for 30 yards. You don't need to be a math major. 2 yards per carry is not going to get it done on the ground. Huge kudos to the run defense. And Christian Wilkins, man, 4 tackles in that game, 2 tackles for a loss. I believe those were on back-to-back plays. But think about those impact plays. The tackles for losses, the sacks, the quarterback hits and pressures. Those are the plays that can be drive killers. And we've seen that from Christian Wilkins so far this year. I believe he's 4th on the team with 32 tackles, but he leads the team with 6 tackles for losses. And I know the sacks haven't been there, but that's really not something you typically get from a defensive tackle position anyways. But watch him play. You'll notice that he is hardly ever losing reps. We saw it. We heard about it all training camp, all preseason, that this dude was being just an absolute menace for running plays. The joint practices with the Eagles and Bucks, always making plays at and before the line of scrimmage. And now we're seeing it go over onto actual Sundays during the regular season. And guess what? You know what that means? Yeah, he is next in line to get a huge payday. But vocal team leader, the dude is never short on energy. It's almost like he's got like a line of caffeine just constantly going to him. He is constantly just up and at it and talking trash. You love him as a fan. He is a definite guy that we want to continue to hang around here. But just know it's going to cost some coin. I got one more stock down I want to get to, and that's Greg Little, because, man, he filled in at left tackle last week for Teron Armstead. They moved Brandon Shell over to right tackle. Greg Little proceeded to record a 1.5 pass blocking grade, according to Pro Football Focus. Mind you, that's on a scale of 100. 1.5 is very, very bad. He allowed 9 pressures last week alone. He's now allowed 19 quarterback pressures over the last 3 weeks. His year-to-date Pro Football Focus pass blocking grade is 19.8. And I've said this before, Pro Football Focus by no means should be considered the Bible. It's a reference. It's a tool to use. But, man, when you are grading that low, it is a pretty serious indicator that something is wrong. And if you go back and watch the game, and you may not even have to go back and watch the game, you probably noticed it in the live version. Him and Liam Eichenberg on that left side were having issues the entire day. But with the twists and the stunts that they were running, with Zadarius Smith speed rushing, bull rushing, Greg Little was having issues. Zadarius Smith is a good pass rusher. We'll give him that. He had 4 quarterback hits. He had 2 sacks. So what does that mean? It means if you believe in a higher power, right now is the time to start praying that Teron Armstead can get healthy, and not only be healthy for just Sunday when Tua is back, when we can't afford to be having our quarterback get hit more after the concussion issues. We need him to be healthy. We need him to be long-term healthy, because it's only week 7 right now. We need healthy bodies, and Teron Armstead is the number 1 guy. I want to hit a stock up here with Mike Gesicki. And I want to kind of almost put a qualifier to this, because right now it's kind of tough to judge Mike Gesicki, in my opinion, without Tua Tagovailoa, because as we've seen, the offensive scheme, philosophy, the way the game plan is executed is different with every starting quarterback that they've had. So I'd like to see and really judge him with Tua, with quarterback 1. But last week he goes 6 catches, 69 yards, 2 touchdowns. We know he's capable of that. We know he's a great red zone threat, but you got to wonder about the consistency, because so far this year, the consistency has not been there. And throughout his career, it hasn't been either. But I don't think that's to Mike Gesicki's fault per se. If you put him up as just a pure pass catching tight end, there's no doubt in my mind he'd be a top 5 to 7 tight end in this league, but that's just not the way the scheme is meant to be carried out right now. So I want to see him in more action with Tua and see what kind of consistency is there, because what's waiting for us at the end of the season, it's that off season where you got to make a call. Like, is this guy worth $14 million plus per season? And I don't want to get into that right now. Right now, I'm going to say it's stock up Mike Gesicki, and let's just enjoy the ride while we have it, because like I said, that trade deadline is approaching, and where I don't think the Dolphins move Mike Gesicki wouldn't outright surprise you. It would not outright surprise you if something were to happen. So you'll probably see his name floated out within the next week or two as well. But for right now, let's ride it out, see what we can get, and see if we can get some consistency brewing with Mike Gesicki. And this last one's going to be really, really quick because I've labeled this a weekly stock up because, geez, I don't need to even talk about this guy every week. He is stock up every single week. Every week, you don't think he can be much higher, but then he goes ahead and he puts up 12 catches for 177 yards with Skylar Thompson and Teddy Bridgewater. So we're not even playing with the majority of the game with the quarterback we game plan the entire game for. We're not playing with quarterback one for that entire game. And now, hey, he's back to first in the NFL in receiving yards on the season. And I know it's only 6 weeks into the season, but if you pace it out, he's on pace to set the single season record for receiving yards in a season. I mean, you can see it on this dude's face. He wants it. When the game is on the line, when it's crunch time, he wants the ball. He's going to make a play. And man, he just looks ferocious out there. Like I said, I don't even need to say it. The dude is a weekly stock up for me. I'm guessing he will be for you as well. But let's hear from you. Go ahead, drop your stock up, stock down candidates in the comments. We'll carry on the conversation from there. And I will be back tomorrow with the 3 keys to victory against the Steelers, and on Saturday with the final preview and prediction video. But that is my time for today, Miami Dolphins fans. And until next time, Fins